Don't you wanna be free when you're standing on the edge of time? One word's all I need to relieve you of your rising greed. Don't you wanna be free when your life's turning upside down? Let me show you the way to go when all direction is lost. I cannot be all you need. I promise to be by your side, to help you set your mind at ease. For once I will not run and hide. I've said it time and time and again. If you want, I can be your friend. Don't you wanna be free to forget where your life should be? For once, stand up for what's right and be true to the ones you need. Don't you wanna be free and to never be afraid again? This time I will not let you go. I'll be your shelter from harm. I cannot be all you need. I promise to be by your side, to help you set your mind at ease. For once I will not run and hide. I've said it time and time and again. If you want, I can be your friend. Good morning, folks. Well, first, let me say that was sort of disappointing. I don't know why my welcome screen did not, why it was not more clear, because I just spent the last 20 minutes making sure it was, and I don't know. So when I push go live, it wasn't. So I'll have to figure out what I did wrong there, because it typically is flawless. Anyways, I wanted to show you how much snow we had gotten. Andover had gotten about 33 inches or so. But it was that light, fluffy stuff. So I guess it wasn't as hard to shovel as some of the heavier snow. And let me just see. Hey, Mike. Hi, Allie. Hey, Rhonda. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining. I originally had a different topic for this morning, but I think I did a live stream with Daniel last night on DG Outdoors channel, and we had touched upon something that, I don't know, I just felt, I guess, called to talk about a little bit more. And I think what I've been noticing, and when I say I've been noticing, I notice it in myself as well, is we're wondering why things aren't necessarily moving either as quick as we want to or not as flawless as we want to. And I think we think, well, if we could just get more motivation, if we could just, think more positively, if we could just take more action, then maybe some of these things, whether it's with your business or your channel or just in life in general, if, maybe we could work through some of these things that we're feeling. But the example I used last night with Daniel was, when you go out hunting or fishing or whatnot, and, it's foggy and you can't see that next right step or which direction you're supposed to go, do you sit there and say, hey, you know what? I'm just going to wait for some more motivation, or I'm going to think positive and this fog will clear? Of course not, right? So it's the same with us. I think it's not because, we're not motivated or we're not taking the right action. I think our brain is so overloaded that we can't think clear, right? And when you can't think clear, then you don't see that next right step. And so it's definitely not a motivation issue. So I just wanted to talk a little bit more about that and see if anybody else is experiencing that. And I think one of the things is when we say, okay, my business isn't growing the way I want it to, or my channel is just not growing. And I say this, right? My channel is just not growing where I had hoped it would grow at this point in time. If you were to take a step back and I say, okay, well, what worked for me before, right? I've had a business before. I had an Amazon business for 13, 14 years. I was in corporate America for 30 years. What worked before? And even if you're, I'll use like a diet issue or just getting healthy issue, what worked for you in your 30s and 40s isn't necessarily going to work for you in this season of life. And it doesn't matter how old you are. We all go through different seasons, right? So I think that's one of the things is, let me just. So what worked for you before isn't necessarily going to work for you now. But I think the first thing before anything, before figuring out, okay, what is the next right step, is we need to get clear. And we need to stop this overwhelm and this open loop that we have going on in our head. And the open loop can be from, I talk about those silent to-do lists all the time, whether it's, in my decluttering video, I talked about it, or maybe it's a conversation that was never finished, or maybe a conversation that's yet to be had. It's constant chatter in our head. So we've got to learn how to release some of that stuff. We've got to learn how to let that go. And it's definitely not about doing too much. It's about holding too much in your head. And, and I actually have been researching this a little bit because it's going to be my next series. But your body and your nervous system can hold a lot more than your mind can. And I know that sounds probably a little bit backwards, but it is true, right? Your body can handle way more than your mind can. And the other thing is the energy that we carry into our lives. We need to figure out ways, so we need the clarity and we need the energy, right? And there are actual steps to help you do both. And I think once you have the clarity, then you'll be able to sit down and say, okay, what makes sense? What is the next right step I should be taking? And, a couple ways, I have a whole bunch of ways here that you can clear the mind is what I call a brain dump. Literally everything that is bothering you, worrying about, anytime, go through your day. And as that thought comes up, write it down. Just write it down. Get it out of your head. So that's the first thing. Anything you're holding in your head. And then you need to close the loop on just one thing. One thing. It could be, maybe there's a text you need to send, right? Maybe send that text, or because sometimes just taking that one action towards closing something that keeps going on in your head will help you get that clarity. It helps to release it, and I talk about this all the time. Be very mindful of what you're putting in your mind, especially first thing in the morning. And I know most of us join Sally's channel first thing in the morning. So that's real positive. That's really good. But there was a time in my life that I didn't do that. I've always meditated for decades. I've meditated. So I've been doing that for a very long time. But in my corporate days, I worked with a lot of folks over in Europe, and I would literally, as soon as I woke up in the morning, would grab my phone to see what crisis was going on that I would have to deal with when I got to the office. was not the best way to start the day. And that eventually caught up with me. So just be very mindful of what you're putting in your mind first thing. Let me just catch up on the chat. Otherwise, I will be so far behind. So, Allie, Mike, Rhonda, hello. Everybody's saying hello. I took action today. It's because, oh, thank you, Allie. You don't know how good that makes me feel when I feel that maybe I inspired somebody. But remember, it's really in you. All I did was help bring that out of you. Going through your fishing gear and getting organized. That's awesome. I've been so busy taking care of everyone else in my life, and now my fishing stuff is taking over. Yeah, well, I know, obviously you have your family, you've just gone through, surgery with your dad. So that weighs on you. That definitely weighs on you. But yes, you need to do things, and not even just from a decluttering perspective, but you need to do things to fill your well back up because it will eventually run dry. So just be mindful of that. Hey, thank you. Love having you here. Thanks for joining. I am about to get on a working session. Drop by to listen for a few minutes on morning break. Have a great. Oh, thank you, CL. Thank you for always thinking of me. You're so sweet. My next right step is don't forget about me. Okay, there you go. That's awesome to hear. That's right. We've all flown somewhere, right? And what do they always tell you? You put the oxygen mask on yourself before helping anybody else. And that's true in life. You've got to take care of yourself or you won't be there to help anybody else. CL, my new favorite artist online, isn't she? Let me just see. Brain dump, I love it. Hey, welcome. I love having new people here. Yes, I need a cheerleader. We all need a cheerleader. We all do. And I think that's when you do reach out, when you're struggling and having a rough day, a rough morning, that's when you reach out to somebody. Sometimes I'll reach out to my kids. Sometimes I'll reach out to a friend. Sometimes what works for me is being able to help somebody else. That's huge for me. If I can just help somebody else get through their day or help solve a problem, no matter what it is. And I've had bad days where I'll do something as simple as if I'm driving and just feeling really down and go through a toll, I'll pay for the people behind me. I know, kind of silly, but that makes me feel better. So I'll do things like that, or I'll buy somebody a coffee that's standing behind me. So that's what helps me. If I can turn around and help somebody else, that usually helps me fill my well back up. Yes, we could all use a cheerleader. I agree. Laura, you have inspired me to get serious about cleaning stuff out and getting rid of it, working on my office now. Well, isn't that something? And you've got to ask. And I'm trying to drop my next video today. I was trying to do it last night, but now getting the thumbnail and all that sometimes takes time for me. But even in the next video in the series is where I talk about grief and letting things go. And sometimes you don't want to let things go because there's a memory or something attached to it. And, I have a personal story in this video where I talk about sometimes holding on to that is hurting you more than letting it go. Sometimes you just need to honor something and then let it go. So that's wonderful, Rhonda. I'm glad you're taking that next right step. The airplane analogy. Yeah, it's true. All right, I think I'm all cut up. I really like that saying, what is my next right step? It has really helped me follow through. Yeah, and that's I kind of got that from Martin Luther King, right? Because he said you don't need to see the whole staircase. You just need to take that next right step. So that's where it came from. I wish I could take credit for it, but all right. So we were talking about different ways to clear the mind and restore your energy. So be mindful of what you put in your body first thing in the morning. And then some of these things, moving your body. I don't care what it is, right? I don't care if it's cleaning. I don't care if it's out there walking. You don't have to do this big exercise program. For me, my decompress, decompressing exercises, running. That helped me a lot as a young kid, was running. And then I did it off and on between pregnancies. And then after my last daughter, I just didn't get back into it for about maybe 15 years. And we all know what happened in 2020. I couldn't take it anymore. So June 9th, 2020, I put running sneakers back on and I haven't looked back. I haven't missed a week. I haven't been out there 5 days a week. Doesn't matter what the weather is. Though I do prefer to run in colder weather than warmer weather. I hate running in warm weather. But that's what I need to do. And it's not necessarily about, because they'll be like, oh, Mom, just take a day off. Or my husband will say, just, you don't have to get out there. No, I do have to get out there because that's medicine for me. That's what helps clear my mind. So you got to move. It doesn't have to be running, anything. Like I said, it could be cleaning. Or especially sometimes when you have to work through an emotion, cleaning is a good thing to do when you're trying to work through emotions. Obviously, drinking water. I don't think people understand how important being hydrated is. It is so important. Sleep. There's this book now. Oh my goodness, I talk about it all the time now. I can't think of it, but it's by Matthew Walker. But it talks about sleep and how important sleep is. And I certainly didn't recognize this when I was younger, but as you get older, you realize how important sleep is. Sleep is one of those things that helps slow down the aging process. So, and I know when I went through my treatments, there was a time, I've always been an early morning person, so I'd be in bed by like 10 and I would be up at 4:30 doing whatever, 4:35. But then after I had gone through my treatments, it took years to get back into getting up early. And I would say it's only been in the last couple of years maybe that I've been getting up again now between 5 and 6, which I'm just thrilled about. But on the opposite end, I got to make sure that I'm making it up and I'm getting to bed at a reasonable time. So rest, drinking water, eating. This one I get really passionate about because I think most of us try and eat healthy. I think most of us try and eat whole foods, but it doesn't matter what you're eating. You turn around and you realize there's something wrong with it. So I guess we just, it's definitely a lesson in even growing your own food, right? Obviously, where I live, I have a very short season to grow and have a garden, and I do every year. But even then, you got to be very conscientious about the fertilizer you're using and what's going in the ground and where you get your seeds. It's crazy. It's crazy, but it's really important to put healthy food into your body and not some of this poison that is sold in our grocery stores. So, so I talked about resting. And then, what is one thing that literally drains you on a daily basis? Try and remove that if you can. And, maybe it's something you can't remove, but how can you lessen the burden of that? I'm trying to think of an example that I probably have done. No, I can't think of one, but if there's something that's weighing you down, if you could try and lessen the burden of that, that would help. And that, clarity doesn't come from forcing it. It comes from, dripping these small things one after the other. And that cloudy water of our brain, if you would, will settle down. And another way is just, I meditate, but we talked, I don't know if we talked about it on one of my lives or somebody else's, but we talked about breathing. It may have been on Catherine Price's last live stream where we talked about breathing. And, if you can breathe in for the count of 4, hold it for at least the count of 4. And then, some say let it go at the count of 4, but I've always held it longer. And just, breathe in through your nose and exhale through your mouth. And believe it or not, you will literally feel the stress leave your body when you do that. So, and just one note here. One thing when I talked about, is there a truth that you haven't said? Is there, a conversation you need to have? I think a lot of times we're so afraid to say what we really want to say. So we just keep going over it in our head, because I think as human beings, we're afraid of being judged, right? We're fearful of that. And why are we afraid of being judged? We are so afraid of being kicked out of the tribe. We all want to belong. We all want to feel we matter. We all want to feel like we're seen, and that we contribute somehow. And we're just, so instead of saying what should be said, I think we shrink and we just keep quiet. And let me tell you that, and I talk about this all the time. Another book is The Body Keeps the Score. And it is so, so true. If you don't let some of this stuff out, it will come out in other ways. It just will. Whether it's, whether it's abnormal cells in your body, right? Whether it's depression, it will come out in other ways. It could be anxiety. So if you guys haven't read that book, I highly suggest, because then you'll realize the importance of not holding this stuff and releasing it. However you have to release it, release it. And if you're not ready to have that conversation yet, you know what you do? You write the conversation down, write it down, put it in your journal, keep it, and at least it's there. At least you can get it out of your head. And then when you're ready to have that conversation, go back. It'll be there for you. But get it out of your head so you're not constantly thinking about it. I think we talked about all that. And just lastly, I did, let me see if I can do this without losing you guys. I actually created, okay, I'm going to try and share my screen. Let's see. I'm going to drop this. This is extremely simple. I am going to expand upon it for my next series, but if it's super simple. Anytime something comes up during the day, I want you to write it down, and then I want you to identify, did it give me energy? Or did it deplete energy from me? Or is it just a neutral activity? And if you do that, if you could do it for a week, I think you'll start seeing some of these energy suckers, if you would, these energy vampires, these activities. And maybe you can figure out how to lessen some of those activities. So I will leave this in the description, and I'm going to just put it on a Google Docs page so that you don't have to go to a landing page or anything. All right. Now, how do I get back out of here? Okay, I did it. Scott would be so proud of me. And I think I said, if you could make just one decision, sometimes when you make one decision, clarity will follow, because you just got that one thing out of your head. And I will leave you with this, and then we'll go to, I'll leave you with two things, and then we'll go to the chat. If you trusted yourself fully, if you believe that no matter what you did, it would be right and it would be received well, what would you do? Just think about that. You don't have to answer it now, but just what would you do if you knew no matter what you said, no matter what you did, no matter what action you took, it would be received well? What would you do? And then I think I just want to talk a little bit about the next series, and it's going to be around our nervous system. I don't think most folks, because I've only learned this, I'd say, in the past couple of years, how important our nervous system is. And I say this only time, it doesn't matter if it's your business, if it's your life, your channel, doesn't matter what it is. You will only move as fast and succeed at the speed of safety. If your nervous system does not feel safe, you won't take action, you won't say certain things, you won't follow through. Everything is done at the speed of safety. So we're going to learn exactly how the nervous system is what I call a bridge, and then how to have your nervous system feel safe. So that's going to be the next series, but I still have a few more episodes in the decluttering series. So that's it. I just want you to, realize that if your business, if there's things in your life, your channel, if they're not moving the way you want them to move, maybe just take a step back and help you get yourself clear so that maybe you can see that next right step and see where that takes you. Okay, let me go back to the chat. Let me see, where did I leave off? You're so true. Holding on hurts more than letting go. Yeah, it really does. And I actually watched Heidi's recent video, and it really hit home for me. So I think, and I don't want to make it sound, women go through this more than men, but I think sometimes we always, as women, we so want to please people that a lot of times we will shrink. And I guess I say this because I'm a woman, but we will shrink so that other people shine. And I think, both can be true. I think somebody else can shine, but we can also shine. We don't need to dim our light when we walk into a room. So if you haven't seen Heidi's last, not necessarily maybe that specific message that she's talking about, but more general, more high level, it really resonated. It was a really good video. So can I pick both? I don't remember what I was talking about, Tyler, but yes, I say that all the time. One doesn't have to be right over the other. Both can be true. Both statements can be true, though I don't know what you're referring to. Exercise is great. Movement is great. You ever feel tired? Like, oh my goodness, I just want to go to bed. But then you just start moving, For me, sometimes it's, I'll go walk the dogs or I'll go clean the chicken coop or whatever it is. And then all of a sudden I get this second wind. And it's from that moving. It's just from taking that, that step and moving your body. So I agree. You don't sleep well. Well, I can tell that, Mike, because sometimes when I watch your videos, after you say you've gone to bed, you're responding. So I know you don't sleep well. But you got to find out why. Is it endless things going on in your head? Is it worrisome thoughts? And, we all go through different seasons. We all have things going on in our life. And the only suggestion I can give is when that happens, just dump it into a journal, dump it into your notes app on your phone, because you know what, it'll be there when you wake up in the morning. So just let it know, hey, I'm not getting rid of you, you're here, and I'll come back to you in the morning. But then maybe you can at least get some sleep. Hi, Daniel. Well, you don't sleep well because you don't get to go home and go to sleep. No, just kidding. But same, we talked about this a little bit yesterday on your live stream, some of the anxiety. And the same holds true. If you can somehow get it out of your head, I think it goes looping around. And Rhonda here, please speak up, because you probably know this better than myself. But I think that thought or whatever's going on is so afraid of you letting it go. So if you can just take it out and put it somewhere, put it in a box, put it, in that journal, put it somewhere so that it's still there. You just don't have to think about it. And sometimes you gotta say, hey, I hear you, fear. I hear you. You're trying to keep me safe, but sit this one out, please. I got it. I appreciate it. Sometimes it's your inner child talking to you like that. And you got to be a little bit kinder to your inner child, but we got to somehow get it out of our heads. We got to stop that looping that goes on. The price of meat. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole because I could go down for hours about what's going on in the food industry right now. And but yes, what I will say is, it's just my husband and I spend more money today on feeding just 2 people than I did when I was raising all my kids at home. It's awful. It is absolutely awful. Being afraid. Hey, Scott. I don't know if you heard when I shouted you out because I was actually able to share my screen. I was like, oh, Scott would be so proud of me that I didn't lose you guys. So, but I do have a question why my welcome screen was so blurry on my phone when it wasn't when I did the preview and everything. But topic for another time. Being afraid to say what I'm thinking has never been a problem. I'm too boisterous sometimes, so just the opposite. I need to find the right balance between both extremes. Yeah, well, there's definitely a way to deliver certain things, I guess. But it's always better to speak it than not speak it. But yeah, sometimes it's the delivery. Just like Scott says, to get outdoors, it helps. It definitely helps. Yeah, you spend a lot of time outdoors, Mike. But yes, I loved that video, other than when your son was walking on the ice the other day. That made me a bit nervous. But and I saw his foot go in. I don't know if he actually got wet, but I did see it go in. I've learned this year that stress can be converted into energy and depleted via exercise. Yeah, you've talked about that, Scott, and you're right. You're 100% right. Cortisol will drop when you get out. Not only when you get outside and you have the vitamin D, and what is it, Brian and Tiffany that talk about it? I think it's Fun in Nature who talk about vitamin N, right? Nature, being out in the sunlight. So the air. I mean, there's just so many good things. And think about it, right? And I just said this recently. It's like the only real thing in this world is what God has made, right? It's what God has made. So it's nature, it's human beings, but so much of what we see out there isn't real. So when you get outside in nature, I always say I feel closer to the source. I feel closer to the divine. And there's something to be said with that. So I'm super proud of the whole core tribe. Agreed. I'm struggling with work. They want us to work Saturdays. I know I need the money, but I feel like I'm getting burnt out, and I like to have 2 days off for rest, but I feel guilty by not working. Only you can make that decision, Mike, but again, getting burnt out, if you get burnt out, then it's eventually going to catch up with you. And then maybe you'll be out for a week or longer. It is so important to replenish and to rest and decompress. But I get it. But why do you feel guilty? Because they don't feel guilty. Corporate America doesn't feel guilty. So I think you need to check in with yourself there and just try it, right? So try one Saturday. You don't have to commit forever. Just try one Saturday. Take one Saturday off and see what happens. I think you'll be surprised. I'm headed to the beach after this live and doing a short, or maybe a short live. Ooh, all right. I got to make sure my notifications are on, Allie, because if you do a live, I want to be able to hop on. I'm around all day, so go live. I want to see you go live. Do it. New series, let's go. Yeah, that's my new Go Max, right? That's going to be my new saying, Go Max. Mike, if you can afford it, don't feel guilty treating yourself to a Saturday off to enjoy family and decompress. Agreed, right? And again, you don't have to commit to the whole month of February or for, just take one Saturday. And if it's, this Saturday's too close, just, let your team know that, hey, I'm going to take next Saturday off. And just do it. And then relish in it. From the moment you get up in the morning, just relish in every moment of it. I did that very thing this week, Scott. I had high anxiety around the weather coming in, so I went out in the snow and made a video about anxiety. Yeah, that's good, Rhonda. To me, that means like when you were fearful about something, you walk towards that fear instead of, cowering inside and worrying about it. You went right outside and you faced it head on. And that's how I feel. I was just thinking about this morning. Sort of how I feel about AI. I have this love-hate relationship with AI. And, obviously there's a lot of good things about AI, but there's a lot of bad things about AI. And that I don't think most people are even aware of. So, and I just had this conversation with a colleague of mine that I used to work with. And he asked, because I've taken AI courses, I've done certain things, I've taken some master classes, and he asked why, especially since I'm not in corporate America anymore. And I said, well, because I have this love-hate relationship with it, and I don't want to be fearful of it. So I walk towards it, and I need to understand it, and I need to understand the good and the bad about it. So you reminded me of that, Rhonda, when you said you stepped outside. So good for you. You walked towards it. And I've said this before, typically when you take a step towards fear, I mean, it's just, it's a mirage. It's not real. And, I say all the time, fear is a liar. So as soon as you step towards it, it gets a little bit nervous and it backs up. Sometimes it dissipates altogether. So keep taking that step forward. Hey, Sally. I'm glad you could make it. Scott, I was doing my homework and Lori gave me for real. Oh. I don't know if that's good or bad, Sally. Did you do your homework? The beach walk. Waiting. Oh, that's right. I think Scott committed to going to the beach today and doing a short. I think he said he was only about 10 minutes away from the beach. I think he said it was cold. I think it was going to be as cold as maybe 60. Is that what I heard? So, no, I've had work calls all morning. It will have to be an afternoon thing, if at all. I truly believe it's because of my weight, and I had to have lung surgery, mostly weight, which I'm slowly losing when I lay down flat. I cannot breathe, so I try to sleep in a chair. I can only relate to that, Mike, in the sense of not the same, but when you're, I'd say, 7 months and beyond pregnant, you can't breathe, and you literally have to sleep in a chair because the baby's just pressing on you. So I remember those days where I slept in the chair because you couldn't lay down. Not the same. I understand. I was able to get it back, but I can at least say I know that feeling. I just got back on the live, had to rewatch my question get answered. So both as in stuck and overloaded. Yes. Yeah, both can be true. Both can be true. The brain dump works to help. Thought interruption works for me. I use Mel's 5-second rule to stop obsessive thinking, counting 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 over and over. Can't count backwards and think at the same time. You're right. Yeah, I remember. Oh my goodness. When did that book come out, Rhonda? Because I had walked through a dark season as recent as 2018, a really dark season. And I remember finding her book. And I know you were in the same Mel Robbins cohort as my friend Ed. And Ed's the guy who wrote the book Thoughtuary. He's good friends with Mel's husband, Chris. And he's the one who actually gave me Mel's book when I was walking through that season. I don't know if it came out, if it was new then, or if it had already been out for a while. Because I think she had High Five after that. So I think the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 came out a long time ago, now that I'm thinking about it. So, but very good suggestion. If somebody hasn't read that book, that is a very, very good suggestion. I take it that's towards Daniel. Vitamin N. Okay, I must be behind. My heart is so happy and full that you all are receptive to my core tribe concept. Yes, Sally, we are. We absolutely are. And I don't know when you joined, but I had talked about sometimes we hold ourselves back from saying things that should be said so that they stop looping in our heads. And it's because, and not necessarily your core tribe, but we're so afraid of being kicked out of the tribe, right? We all want to belong. So instead of, speaking what we should be speaking, we hold it within, we shrink, and we just dim our light. So, but every time I hear the word core tribe, It makes me think of that. So I feel guilty because it's money I could have made and put towards the family or getting out of debt. No, you got to let that go. You can't hold on to that guilt because that's not helping, Mike. And I'm sure somebody else has said that in the comments, so I won't belabor it. But no. Hey, Debbie Sue. I'm glad you could join, hon. Mike, I relate to so much to the struggle and needing the money, but also needing time off. Yeah, because I'm telling you, the body keeps the score. It will catch up with you if you don't decompress, if you don't learn to drop that cortisol. And guilt is one of those low frequency vibrations that bring on cortisol. It's just this constant cortisol drip. And the other thing, and again, Rhonda, speak up because you probably know this better than me, but cortisol is highly, highly addictive, right? So a lot of times when we have put ourselves in these situations and then we step out and we actually start feeling good, we will actually do something to sabotage ourselves or the negative thinking just so that we can have that cortisol drip. So how many times have you heard, and I think, was it Brene Brown who used to say all the time that she didn't ever want to feel good. She never, even if she was in a good season, if everything was just going right, she wouldn't allow herself to feel good because then it was too far to fall. I mean, obviously, she doesn't live like that anymore, but, I remember that conversation that she had. I think it was a TED Talk she did. Oh, so it was 2018. Okay, so maybe it was new then. Hello. Oh, I think this is a good vibe tribe, core values and core support. Yeah, and I think, you know what? This is getting onto each other's lives. I know Mike says he does this all the time, and I think we all try as long as there's not overlaps. That will replace the cortisol. That will give us the dopamine or the serotonin hit. That's what we need, right? That's what we need in our lives. And hopefully you get inspired when you walk up, somebody's lives, that you're inspired to do something. And maybe it offers a little bit of clarity so that you can take that next right step. Hey, Granny. No, don't ever apologize. Don't ever apologize. How's that garden going, Granny? I was watching your video the other morning of the different pots that you had going. I am just jealous isn't the right word because I'm not jealous. I just wish that I could grow a garden all year long. And I think I've shared with you, I bought one of those vertical gardens. I don't know if they're still popular. They were popular a couple years ago. And so I'm like, I had to have it, right? I wanted to be able to grow vegetables all year long so I could grow them in my house. And so I did it last year. And yeah, we got tomatoes, we got cucumbers, we got different lettuces. But it was a lot of work. And the value was not there. It certainly cost a ton of money to grow what I grew. So definitely didn't do it again. Now it's something that I need to get rid of that's sitting in my corner downstairs. So far, so good. Awesome. And you've inspired me, Granny. I think one of the first lives I participated in yours was to grow ginger. It hasn't rooted yet, so I don't know if I did something wrong. I don't remember how long I did it. It was definitely before the holiday. So I don't know if it takes a long time for the roots to start coming out. But you inspired me because I absolutely love ginger. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to start growing my own ginger. So does it take a long time? Or maybe I'm just doing something wrong? But I remember talking to you about that. And you're like, yeah, Lori, just get a piece and you cut it and it'll just grow. So it's work and it's not cheap. No, it's definitely not cheap. Even, I know Oki's, even if he's still on, he can probably talk to this better than I can. But even just growing, the garden, my garden months are from like May, probably mid-May, probably through mid-October. But most of my harvest is, I start harvesting some things probably at the end of July, early August. But I would say the garden's completely done by the end of September, other than maybe some squash or pumpkins or stuff like that. And I don't know why I'm going to go back to this again, but I did a pumpkin video last year. And if anybody hasn't seen it, I just think the message of the pumpkin video is, if you ever need a pick-me-up, go watch my pumpkin video. And you will not second guess the amazingness that lives inside of each one of us from that pumpkin video. So that's all I'll say. Ginger takes a long time. Okay, so maybe I just need to be more patient. That is definitely not one of my strong suits. I'm trying, but definitely not a strong suit of mine. It is a tropical, so it likes warm, hot places. Okay, I do have it in front of a window, but so it's very warm when the sun, and it is a south-facing window, so it's really warm when the sun's out, but maybe it's too close to the window. Maybe that's one of the reasons it's not taking off. Oki's gardening related content is tops. Love it. But I don't eat too many veggies. I mostly focus on flowers. When's the last time you've tried vegetables, Scott? And I say that because other than my youngest daughter, my kids would not eat vegetables. They would eat corn on the cob. I don't know if I consider that a vegetable. But they wouldn't eat vegetables. And today, that's all they eat. That's all they eat is vegetables. So, and they'd be like, oh, gee, Mom, you didn't tell us how good they were. I'm like, are you kidding me? I tried to do so many different things to disguise vegetables and add flavor to them. But now that's all they eat is vegetables. So if you haven't tried them in a while, try them again. Sometimes taste buds change. I just recorded some garden videos today and we'll post a little bit later. Awesome. I can't wait for those because I'm living through you, Granny, right now. I'm living through you. So, and I know, Granny, you mentioned, I think it was I did catch this comment because at some point during the live stream last night, I put the live stream on my other computer here. So I was able to see the comments and I saw that you're like, oh, we should all do a meetup sometime. Just let me know when. I have enough people in Florida that I know that I could come down and visit with them, but I could take a day and meet up with all you guys. So, but we got to do it before July. I am not a fan of the hot weather. So, or maybe in the fall. So I would love that. He is fabulous. I've only recently started watching him. I met him through your channel, Granny, and I participated in a couple lives now, but he had one maybe a week ago. Oh my goodness, his tutorials and his how-tos are just fabulous. So yes, corn is not a veggie. My daughter is vegan. Okay, see? I was sort of joking, but I tell my kids, I'm like, no, corn on the cob is not a vegetable. So, but it really isn't. It's really not a vegetable. Two of my sons manage produce departments at Publix, so you'd think I would be all about the veggies. Really? You've tried every vegetable and there isn't one you like, Scott? Come on. There's got to be one. There's got to be one. A cucumber, a tomato. Though I know some people say tomatoes aren't vegetables either. There's got to be something. I'm trying to think. I mean, squash. Oh my goodness, I love squash. So there's got to be something. And that's awesome that they manage the produce department. Oh my goodness. Or work in the produce department. They must be able to get the right pickings of everything as they come in. I am coming next week. I'm coming Thursday. Yep. Down for a visit with a friend who lives in Palm Coast. Actually, I have two friends there now. Another friend of mine just moved there last April. So another one of my sons manages the meat department at Publix. So he's my favorite. Do they get a discount? Seriously, do they get some type of discount? Even if it's 10%. How many sons do you have? He has a lot. You could have a football team. We should do it in the winter so you can escape the cold. Yes, I agree. I agree. Because even if it's only going to be 60 when I come down next week, I think that's what Allie said. Oh my goodness, I would take 60 any day. Especially, it's been so cold here, and I feel so bad for my chickens, Granny. They just, we have this large corral around their run, and we do put this heavy plastic around the run just to keep the wind, so they can at least come out into the run. But it's not a giant run, and I just feel bad because they won't step out into the snow. They just they're not getting any exercise. So as soon as we get some, if the snow ever melts, I always walk. It's funny. It is very funny, Granny. I don't know if your chickens follow you or not, but in the warmer weather, when you can actually see ground and there's grass, I will open up the corral doors and they literally will all just follow me in line. And I walk them to the back of our property because our property backs up to conservation land. And I'll just sit out there with them because I won't leave them. I just won't let them free range because of the predators. A hawk's gotten one of them. And I'll just sit out there with them and they will just dig for worms for however long I can manage to stay out there. But I just laugh because they all just follow me out like the little ducklings or something. I don't know if your chickens do that or not. I think it's funny. My son eats no veggies either. So your daughter's a vegan and your son won't eat vegetables. That must be an interesting dinner, Granny. Do you like fruit? Let me see if he answered that. Years ago when I had my other channel many, many moons ago, a whole group of us got together and met in Philly. It was so much fun. How far is, because my daughter's in state college, though she does graduate this year, thank God. Just meaning thank God because of the tuition payments. I'm so done. I've gotten 3 kids through college with no student loan, and it has not been easy. It has not been easy. So I am thrilled that she's done. And if she wants to go for her master's, I told her it's on her. So my writing check days are done. They're over. Let me see. Publix is a great company to work for. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know much about them. I know they're down in Florida because that's where we shop when I go visit my daughter. Let me see. I wish we could meet up then, but I don't want to take away from your visit. Are you close to Palm Coast, Allie? Did you tell me you were? I'm sorry, I don't remember. Even our cold is not cold. No, that's why, I'd love it. It was 70 when I went down next week, but even even your cold, even 40 degrees, right? If it hits 40, 40 is still really nice here. I wouldn't wear a jacket outside at 40. So they do get discounts, but we don't. Okay. So if they get discounts, they can't go grocery shopping? Can't they do your grocery shopping? Or do they only get discounts like on their lunches that they buy or something? I would be giving them my grocery list. Anything to, I don't know when you joined, Scott, or if we were talking about it after you joined, but it's ridiculous, the price of food. And, so much of what's in the grocery stores today is just not healthy. It's just not healthy. So it's poison. Ellie have 4 boys. The 4th one refuels airplanes. Why did I think you had 6 children? You only have 4? Do you have daughters? Do you have any daughters, Scott? Oh, there you go. I have 2 daughters. Okay, so I was right. You had 6 children. What are their ages? Are they all still at home? We should rent an Airbnb. Yes. So where do you live, Allie? Because you say you live on an island. I'm curious. You probably dropped in a chat somewhere along the way. Do you give them extra corn? It helps keep them. Yes, I give them corn on the cob every single day. I put 2 ears of corn on the cob. I only have 6 chickens, but 6 is enough. Oh my goodness, 6 is enough. And I think it was Catherine I was telling. I don't know what type of breeds you have, Granny, but certainly I was telling Catherine she needs to research her breeds a little bit before she just goes and buys them. I haven't had a whole lot of breeds, but out of the ones I've had, the buff Brahmas are my favorite. They're just so gentle and kind. So far, they've been good egg layers. My leghorns are very good egg layers, but they think they're queen bees, and they don't want anybody to come into the coop. I've had to really retrain them. I've had to, segregate them a couple of times so the pecking order, kind of evens out, but it somehow always gets back that they're on top of the pecking order. So I would not get leghorns unless you're getting all leghorns. No, we should do a meetup down here in August so they can appreciate the price we pay in summer to enjoy our nice winters. No. When my daughter comes up to visit, she will wear a heavy sweatshirt in the middle of the summer up here when we go running. That girl, she'll run when it's 105 degrees out and she thinks it's great. I cannot step outside when it's 105 degrees out. Corn equals carbs, pass. Yeah, I do like corn on the cob, that fresh corn on the cob, but I hear ya. Like in Sally and some other northerners we love. There's a lot of us. It's growing. Ellie, we would have to make sure it was at least 2 bathrooms. Daniel's going to be in there playing with his lures. Daniel, are you still on, or are you only listening to us? Did you see this comment, Daniel? Mike's talking about your lure testing in the bathtubs. So, yeah, our heat is, well, a bit much. Oh, it is a pain. I don't know what that's referencing. Granny stays busy, so many different appetites. Right? Oh my goodness. Vegan. No, Mom, I don't want that. No, Mom, will you make me this? No, Mom, I'm not going to touch that. Don't put that in front of me. Yeah, 60 is almost hot. Yeah, I agree. I like 60. I'll even go as low as 7, low 70s. But anything beyond that and the humidity, forget it. Publix is... So you're an hour. Okay, so you're an hour from Palm Coast. I'll meet DG this summer. Is he coming down? Or no, you're going up. That's right. You're going up to your farm. Hi, sorry, I've missed most of it. Wanted to pop in and catch you live. Oh, thank you, Pam. Thank you. Let me see. I'm trying to go to Indiana in the spring, but not sure. I had a dear friend who just retired from Publix, and I have to say she did very well as the manager in the bakery department. Yeah. Our big chain here is called Market Basket. I mean, there's a few others. There's Hannaford's, there's Stop and Shop, but they are at least a third more in price than Market Basket. They are by far one of the best chains, but I do believe they're just in New England. It's a local family that has grown the chain. All right, Merritt Island. I am going to write that down so I don't keep asking you. To answer your question, Lori, they spread out across ages 22 to 33, and only the youngest is still at home for now. Okay. Are they all still next to you, though, Scott? Do you at least get to visit? Are they all driving distance? I don't know what I would, my middle daughter is all over the country. She just came home this past weekend. Of course, the worst weekend of all to come home. Obviously, she didn't get out till Tuesday morning. But I need to be near my kids, especially now with grandchildren. I would hate not being able to see my grandchildren grow up. And I didn't realize how much it would bother me until they were born. So, and now I just can't get enough of them. And so I'm sure everybody, and Granny, you'll be able to back me on this one. You've always heard that, being the grandparent is just so much better than being a parent. Or maybe not exactly like that, but it is so true. And not just because you can have them for a weekend and send them home, but my goodness, you can just sit and literally enjoy them. Just enjoy their curiosity, their just everything about them. I spent the morning with my granddaughter the other day. He'll be 1 tomorrow. And I literally just followed her around, their house, and she would just find the most mundane things, not her toys, the most mundane things in their house. And she'd be so inquisitive. And we would just sit there, and she would be chit-chatting away with me, to me, but I couldn't understand a word she was saying. But just to be able, nothing else matters than spending those moments with her, because you know how quick it goes, right? As parents, I was definitely more cognizant of time going quickly because of the relationship I had with my mom, that I didn't want to miss it with my kids. But, life still gets in the way. You still got to work. You still got things to do. You still have errands to do. You still have, to drive kids to, football games or gymnastics or hockey. So you miss other things. So I think as a grandparent, you just try and really appreciate as much as you can. It's in between Cocoa and Cocoa Beach. Okay. I am going to look it up after, Allie. I'm not very good with geography, so I'm always very inquisitive, and I have to see. My brother had buff Orpingtons when he was a kid. He ordered and cared for them himself. Mom paid for them, though. That's something. How old was he, Pam? Because anybody who says chickens, and I have heard this, chickens are not a lot of work. They take care of themselves. Don't worry about it, Lori. That's not true. That is just not true. Or maybe I've just spoiled mine. That could be. That really could be. But they're not no work. They're a lot of work. So 62 here, and I'm bundled up at my desk. Do you have a heater? Do you have an electric heater under your desk, Scott? So I think we're up to 10 right now today. So probably a little bit warmer in the sun. And I will gladly run. I will gladly run in that weather. I remember how nice those chickens were compared to the other ones we had. I wonder if you had, and we don't have roosters. So Granny, I don't know if you have roosters. We don't have any roosters. My husband always says we should get one. I'm like, no, I'm not even sure we're supposed to have chickens in the suburbs, but I certainly don't think roosters. I don't think anybody would appreciate that. Though we do have, this is going to sound weird, we do have a hen that has taken on rooster-like qualities. She will get out and she will cock-a-doodle-doo or whatever it is, but she's a hen. So they, and she has those spurs that roosters have. So I don't know, never knew that could happen, but it is a thing. Scott and I need to do a meet too in Allie. Yeah, my goodness, you guys are all down there together, even if you're a few hours apart, just being able to hop into a car and go. I would love that. I would come tomorrow, Granny. I've been craving chow chow. I need to learn how to make it. So how far are you from Granny? You should just go. Just go. Don't think about it. Just go. When we did our get-together with other YouTube friends, we had a section of a hotel reserved. Oh, that's the way to do it. That's definitely the way to do it. A hotel, an Airbnb. We would certainly get to know a lot about each other if we stayed in an Airbnb. I can barely live with my husband, so. Well, let me rephrase that. He can barely live with me. So, let's be honest. I heard, don't think I can make it to Florida. I don't think I could make it to Florida, but if I can meet Granny or Allie, if they come up my way, that'd be awesome. Well, and I told you, Daniel, you ever come to Maine, to New Hampshire, you tell me and I'll be there. I know you said you have family out here. So if you ever do venture out this way, I drive to the lake 3-4 days a week. It's only 90 minutes. And to me, that's nothing. So to drive 3-4 hours, to me, it's a little bit of a road trip. That's all. No school tomorrow. And so I got the grant and we're rather busy. They were 75. Oh my goodness. 75 of you. Wow. Oh, it is wonderful. You just sit and play, right? There's nothing else more important because you know how quick it goes. And you know how quick those inquisitive years go. And I don't know, just the innocence and they're so creative and they will stretch their boundaries and they're not afraid of trying things. They're not afraid until they start going to school. So that's going to break my heart. So for the next 4 years, I'm just going to appreciate it. Wow, that must have been awesome. Yeah, 75. We talk about everything, and I love watching her with my mother and try to capture it as much as I can. Oh, that is awesome, too. That's right. That's right. And, Nana must just love, right? Not only does she have her grandchildren, she's been able to watch her grandchildren grow, but now her great-grandchildren. It's crazy. Bye, Rhonda. Thank you for coming, honey. Oh, I am. Okay. Their work there, they're a hoot to watch. They are tiring. I will say that. They are tiring. I enjoy it, and I would never say no, but by the time she leaves, I'm tired. I have been searching your channel. I can't find you. Can you drop it? Let me see if I can find it really quick. Really quick. Hold on. You probably already beat me to it. All right. Hopefully somebody beat me to it because my list is way too long. Did somebody drop it? I got it. Oh. Forgot I cannot do Command V. Okay. I'm sure somebody dropped it. Of course. All right. All right. Everybody's dropping. Yes, Nana is a breath of fresh air. Yes, got it. Can't wait. Check it out. I'm a natural born storyteller. Thank you, Allergy. I'll check out yours too. I'm still figuring out the storytelling part. Yeah, Pam, I don't think we ever quite get there. I was talking, I shouldn't say that. I mean, I think each video can get better, but there's so much to learn about storytelling. So, but, I know you made a comment in the last live that you did with your husband, Dylan, and you're like, oh, Dylan, talk, because I'm sure everybody's sick of listening to me. No, we're not, Pam. We're not sick of listening to you. So don't stop. We love your stories. I love you're very calm. When I watch your channel, you just, you raise my vibration because you're just so calm, and I love it. I love it. So no, don't stop. Ellie, thank you. She will do her video today about meeting Elvis. Oh, did I miss something? Life is a story. Yeah, you're definitely right about that. Okay, I think I'm all caught up. Thank you, folks. I will drop that energy tracker that I shared. If you're interested, I will put it, I'll leave it as a Google Doc in my description. And I appreciate everybody's time this morning because it's not lost on me that we all have busy lives. And so I thank you. I thank you for dropping in. I hope you all have an amazing day. Make it a great day. I love you guys. See you next time.